Hi, Bob. It's Vargas. Congratulations on your retirement and your noble work spanning 10 years advancing social justice at Intersections International. Starting with our Senate Anti-Poverty Working Group here in Washington, D.C., to our Iraqi Voices Amplification Project, to our work bridging the divide between Islam and the West, Intersections has been noted for building bridges and peace, and that has been your doing. Thank you.
You called me up and asked me to join you on the ultimate adventure, moving to New York City and starting a new nonprofit. And I asked you, what will this nonprofit do? And you said, we'll figure it out. Come be part of my team. And I said, yes.
I have never seen anyone operate in an organization the way that you have. You have made a point to have a very diverse staff, and you've managed to connect those dots with different organizations that seemed like we wouldn't have anything in common with, but you found the common ground. Everything from what was happening in the Middle East to what was happening here in New York at Ground Zero to the LGBTQ community, you have always managed to have your finger on the pulse.
Bob, I think you've made a mark on the world by creating what was referred to as a startup and leaving it as a sustainable organization that has a very tangible impact. I'm speaking for the arts program. Look at what Uniform Justice has done. Starting from, just Memphis, Tennessee, and then ended up being a tour to different cities and an overall initiative where we've created more plays. That's a huge deal, and that's all because of you and your vision.
You could have chosen to do absolutely anything in the world with your life and been wildly successful. And it's always made a big impression on me that you chose the field of faith-based social justice to invest all of your many talents into. And I felt so blessed and honored to have a role model and mentor in my life who has made these kinds of choices, where you're so engaged in a field that is dirty and difficult and disappointing a lot of the time. So thank you so much for making those choices and having such an esteemed career in which you made such a big difference in so many people's lives in so many different ways.
Bob, I've seen the impact that you've had on others. Here's an example. We sat in a room with about 300 or 400 people in Astana, Kazakhstan, and you began to talk. And you could feel that the shift in the room changed, even though there were translators translating every word that you said. You could tell that the words that you were speaking were ideas and concepts that these folk had never heard before. But because of your presence and because of your truth and because of your stature in faith, they listened. And things changed after that. The very next year we went back, and all of the things that you had recommended, they had instituted as a part of this experience in Kazakhstan.
When I first met you, it was kind of an astounding meeting. I came in and I said, I've got this idea, and I'd like to combine the insight approach to conflict transformation with the performing arts, and, talked a little bit about what I thought Taya could be. And you said, yes, let's wonder about this together. Yes, let's collaborate on this. And that is what you bring to creating peace and justice in this world, is a real exquisite yesness.
When I wanted to go to the Middle East and lift up the voices of Iraqi refugees, you said yes and put money and resources at my disposal. And when I came back, you supported the creation of plays, of modern dance pieces, of art installations that really lifted up these stories.
One of the things I'm so grateful for that you allowed me to do is bring my past as a performer and an actor and a singer into this work, and you gave it value when oftentimes in organizations like this it's not valued, and that's definitely changed my life and my perspective. So now it's not just about my work in the LGBTQ community, but now I know that there's a value for me in the veteran community and working with our international programming. It's incredible. It's been really empowering.
We always called Bob Chase, which seemed like a perfect name for him. He was always chasing the next cause or social injustice, looking over the next hill, looking around the corner, which I guess isn't too hard if you're 6'8".
Bob is a force of nature. He has the kind of personality that draws people in and that causes them to be better than they are and to hope for better things.
Bob has provided tremendous benefits to the world, especially US-Pakistan interaction and relation, and he will always be a towering figure. He's already very tall. We could never find anyone who is taller than him, but by virtue of his work, by virtue of his contribution, he stands even taller among the rest.
He had a kind of vision that enabled this extraordinary program to happen. I've never even heard of this kind of activity happening anywhere else in the world. It's his insight and his vision that really made this possible, so I'm grateful.
The relationship that my dad had with Bob Chase was a special and loving one, and I want that special and loving relationship to continue with him through me. I love you, Bob.
Assalamu alaikum, Bob. Greetings from Islamabad, Pakistan. Bob, I just want to thank you for all the work that we've done together over the past 6 years. It's truly been the privilege and the honor of my career to have been able to work so closely with you, Bob. You remind me of God's love truly in the world, and your deeds have inspired me and so many others, and we look forward to the next inspirational stage in your journey. Thank you so much, Bob. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. Lots of love.
Bob, you showed me that anything is possible, even when it seems like the cards are stacked against you, that you can make it happen.
We'll make it work, somehow. And that's what is so unique about you, and I feel like is oftentimes missing from kind of our world today, is like, we can do this.
Walking the talk. Your belief in human dignity and equality infuses and is embodied in everything that Intersection's done and has taught me. That there is no work too small, no project too ordinary, not to stop and look and making sure that the diversity of humanity isn't also embedded in that work and in that project. How it works and how it looks. That is you, and that is what you taught all of us.
I learned so much from you about being a good human being. I learned about having compassion, about looking for commonalities instead of seeing differences. I learned about finding ways to forge common ground when it just didn't seem possible. I learned about my own voice and the power that I had when I spoke up. You always were there cheering me on and encouraging me to take my next step.
Who would have thought you're asking me to give a 2-year commitment to Intersections would turn into almost 8.5 years later? You have done so much for me, and I am forever grateful for that.
Just one additional thing that I want to say to you, Bob, is that you will always be my friend. And the experiences that we've had together have touched my heart. From you and Blythe helping me to find my family, to listening to me at times where I really felt like nobody else would listen to me or really understand. We've been through a lot, my friend. You will always be my friend. You will always be in my heart. You will always be a part of my life.